Hey there, Nomad of Nowhere fans! Welcome back to the Nomad of Nowhere After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we are talking about Season 1, Episode 10, The Witch in the Night. We are going to be breaking down the episode and discussing all of the answers we've been dying to get this season. Also, we might just be dying a little bit inside. And we are joined by a very special guest, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
How's everybody doing tonight?
You can't kill me, I'm already dead.
I was an inanimate object brought to life.
Oh, thank God.
That's weird, I blacked out for a second. Please don't do that again.
You sure?
Shout out to our iTunes listeners. All right, hey there, Rooster Teeth fans.
Can that not be a gag, please?
I was going to say, we're setting a dangerous precedent with the screaming lights on the Shut Up, Red Manuel. Do we really want to add a third one?
No screaming lights tonight. Oh,
Okay.
no.
Mark is very, very dedicated to the bit.
Emphasis
sort of
on
person.
dead.
Well, hey there, Rooster Teeth fans. Welcome to this week's Rooster Teeth Reviews, where we are talking about Season 1, Episode 10 of Nomad of Nowhere. Let's not waste any time. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Mark Donica.
Hey, it's me, Mark Donica.
And he's alive-ish! Yay! To his left, Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hello, hello.
To her left, Katie Cullen.
Mark is nomad confirmed.
Added to
I
the
have my son.
Add it to the conspiracy board. And I'm Megan Salinas. Guys, we have a special guest joining us tonight. In studio is the wonderful storyboard artist for Nomad of Nowhere, Molly Flood.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thank you. I didn't know who was going to dab first. I really, thank
For
God.
our audio listeners, that was a dab.
I can definitely feel the implied dab for sure.
Oh, yeah. It just goes out there in waves. They
They
understand.
feel it in the heart.
They do.
That's how it goes.
That's how dabs work, I believe.
Yes, yes.
But for all of you guys watching live, we've got a couple people covering you on the live chat. And for those of you on Twitter, we are going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag RTReviews. So feel free to put your comments about tonight's episode in the hashtag in the live chat. We love hearing your guys' thoughts too. So, yeah, guys, what did we think of episode 10?
No pressure, just because I'm here.
I mean, I don't really want to blow out anyone's audio levels, but dying whale noises.
Okay, I was ready. I took my
I could lean back and do dying whale noises, just like
boy.
Stacey?
it's gonna happen before the end of the night.
Same.
Should we do it in harmony then?
They deserve
Harmonizing dying whale noises.
Yeah,
deserves
if
Terrifying.
anybody wants to know what the sound of heartbreaking is, for me personally, it's just the audio track for this episode. That is the sound of my heart breaking for about 12 minutes straight. Mark?
Man, you know what? Personally, I think there's a little bit too much color. If it was just like white with the lines, I think I probably would. And now it's just because you were here. But ultimately, the fact that it started out and instantly we got a bunch of answers. Instantly was a wonderful way to start the episode and just go, are we in it? All right, we're in it. Here we go. Let's just take a ride on this roller coaster. We're going down just as Eddie promised. You monster.
I hope that you're proud of yourself, Eddie.
Oh, sure.
You made us all cry.
Of course, Eddie's proud of himself.
Yes, of course. He gets paid for this, so.
I would like to get paid to break people's hearts on the regular.
Does he actually get paid, or does he get paid in tears?
I mean, it's, I get paid for the writing, and then that's just like a side bit where you just gotta like wait for everyone to watch the episode and just go around with the beaker, just getting that side cash.
Puts it on a keepsake on a shelf.
Of course.
So Molly, tell us a little bit about your history with Rooster Teeth. Were you a fan of the company before you started working with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think before the show I made a Halo reference. So my brother and I used to play Halo when we were in high school, and that developed into, hey, have you seen this show called Red vs. Blue? And then that just like kept going, and then years later it's like, oh man, they got an animation department now. And just slowly just like, oh, I wonder what's been going on with those guys, and then just binge watching all of Ruby, and then Camp started up, and from there, got Nomad going on now. So yeah, like a longtime fan, and then just slowly meeting people who work in the company, And then with the show starting up, just got the storyboard job. So
Nice.
Yeah. So what was your reaction when you got the job?
I was freaking out because it had been like a little while since I'd had a job. So I actually got contacted for a Ruby thing, and I was already on a freelance job when they were like, "Are you available?" And I wasn't available for those dates, but I told them when I would be available, and then just followed through and was just like, "Hey, I know you said that's already going on, but I'm available now." And then the 2D team just snatched me up, and we're just like, "How do you feel about westerns?" So,
How do you feel about westerns?
Speaking of that, at RTX you were giving out a couple of stickers, and one of them was kind of a nomad big mood of him looking up at the purple sky, and it's a very wonderful image. But B Marbly in the chat says, "Hello Molly from Crystal in Texas," but asks, "What is your process for conveying mood with your storyboarding?"
God, Crystal, I actually know her, so
Very specific.
I've tweeted about this before, but every single episode I've worked on for Nomad has been like a different genre. So, episode 3 was like high action with the ranch hand, and then episode 5 with the Undertaker, like total horror. So depending on what that episode kind of conveys is how I kind of go about with theme and like lighting. So in episode 5 with Undertaker, for an example, there was a point when Nomad came up the stairs and it's just like the Undertaker with a gun, and you see the light like moving. I had specifically like drawn in the shadowing to be like, it's moving, like, and it's creepy and it's like very unsettling and everything's bad happening here. So, but that shot with the nighttime, it's like my favorite shot. I use it like for everything. They're gonna get tired of me bringing it back, but it's there's so much like goodness and wonder in Nomad. So, and that kind of, for a character that can't talk, you kind of have to convey feeling in other ways. So.
And the vastness of the sky, and despite how important this character is in the world, it's still only a small piece of it. And I think the trailer for the second half of season 2 is a very good calling card for the show, because it's colors, it's emotions, you get the nomad walking, but then you get surprise, it's gonna get weird, and it really I think that should be used for any and all promotion ultimately.
Yeah. You get that sense of wonder and optimism that he's experiencing the world for the first time, and that comes with that adventure, but then there's also the reality of the menace and darkness that exists within the world.
Right.
So, yeah, spot on.
And we've now just learned that he's not experiencing the world for the first time.
Great segue.
It's fine. Before we move on, really quickly, we have a quick announcement for you
Yes,
guys.
AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network that works harder to serve television fans, but we need your help. We are asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel here, AfterBuzz TV Animation, YouTube will suggest content that is tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. We've got Attack on Titan. We're doing My Hero Academia right now. They're sort of doing big chunks of episodes in order to catch up, and also Voltron is still going on, but almost done until we're back soon.
We've got 2 episodes left.
Yes.
1 episode recap and then a season recap.
Nailing
And then
it.
whenever the final season drops.
Yeah.
So please subscribe. If you're worried about those notifications, don't. They're optional. I mean, we'd really appreciate it if you just hit that little bell thing, but it is optional. So hit the subscribe button now for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Maybe you might see a familiar face on sci-fi or wrestling and sports. So make sure to subscribe to those. Let us know that you did in the comments, and we will thank you on air. But for now, thank you for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
And I want to give a real quick shout out to a couple people on Twitter. Caitlin Geddes is currently watching our live stream with all of her little rock critters.
Children.
They're so cute. And also AME on Twitter at The Need for Pede is giving a shout out to you, watching my bro Molly on podcast right now. So proud of you, girl.
Got the fam watching. It's good.
Nice.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig into this episode. Guys, we finally get to find out what exactly it is that the Nomad is. Like, we threw out a couple theories about maybe he's an automaton, maybe he's a couple grim in a trench coat. And so we finally got an answer. He's a scarecrow, and I don't think I could have asked for anything better. It was a personal gift to my heart.
I mean, it makes so much sense, though, that he can occasionally be boneless when he's moving, the face, everything. It makes sense.
Yeah, is that something you guys implemented from the get-go? Like, knowing, okay, this is he himself is an inanimate object brought to life, so let's make him move like that.
I think Jordan's mentioned that before. Some of the stuff that was shown at RTX, the animation testing, if you notice how just crazy that they just went with Nomad, very cartoonesque, and that's, I'm assuming, part of the reason why is because you don't have any bones, so very easy.
Makes him very flowy. Makes it so he can move like a Looney Tune, whereas everybody else is sort of a little bit more restricted in their movements.
And as much as I hate it, because he's my son, but I mean, he does take a lot of punch and they touch a bunch of punches, and he's totally okay. So
And a gunshot.
Sounds like a squeaky toy.
Yeah.
I didn't do that episode. Just want to clarify. Just said.
As a storyboard artist, do you have? Do they send you the scripts of the in-betweens so you have an idea?
No.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why I get so excited on Twitter, is because the episodes that I don't work on, I kind of have an idea if I work on an episode afterwards. But for the majority of the parts, I have no idea. So I'm just reacting with everyone, and everyone's like, why are you? You knew. I'm like, no, I didn't know. I didn't know about this.
They don't tell me these things.
Yeah, episode 9, I think I messaged Jordan, and I was like, who do I have to thank for not putting me on this episode? I think his response was, we needed you alive for further. Oh, my son.
My sweet baby boy.
Sure, Frost in chat says, no wonder the Nomad can't throw a punch. His haymakers would be weak.
Hey.
Tish.
That's
love
a good one.
That's a good one.
I love you.
Cha-cha.
Stacey, what did you think of the reveal that he is a scarecrow?
It makes so much sense. It really works so well. And it was one of those things you're saying, oh, well, he's kind of, what if he really is this inanimate object versus being a person? And I think we danced around that idea a lot and never really fully committed to it, because it was kind of well, that's what it is, right? But maybe not, so.
Yeah, there was always a little bit of doubt because of the get-up.
It was a good justification.
So, yeah, and we see who has essentially brought him to life. It is an unnamed man. He's just referred to as Papa in the credits. And a young girl named Melinda. And it's... Oh, go ahead.
I went back. So there are a lot of... Even though we got answers in this, we got a lot of questions as well. And I went back and went, hold on, and I tried to go back. And the flash that we see in episode 1 of the original house with Melinda in it got so much more sad. There's somebody there, aren't they? No, they're not.
And Broom Friend being broken in half is also just oh, that's why he's so heartbroken about that.
Retroactively, so freaking tragic.
Though I did go back and check the Necromancer episode to make sure that it wasn't the same book. And it's not. But I thought, hey, maybe. Nope.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch episode 1 now that we have additional context, for sure. And yeah, so we get this introduction to this father and father-daughter team, and we're not really 100% certain what's going on at first, because at first he's just showing her magic, and she's like, I thought you said that was off limits, what's the deal with that? And he's like, yeah, but
I had a question for the table. Did anybody think, because the eye designs were sort of from Spider-Man to Venom, they were a little bit different? Did anybody think that this was a predecessor, or if that was the Nomad?
I figured it was the Nomad immediately.
Just
yeah.
Same.
But yeah, you are right. It is very Spider-Man Venomous.
And we've checked it off.
But that being said, he looks so different in his initial Scarecrow outfit, and then as the episode goes on, the sort of night garb that he gets. Did you get to design the night garb, or was that sort of given to you?
I usually get to do like a first pass of this is what I have an idea of what this is going to be, and then all the creative people who that's their real job like get to do and change everything and make it much better. I think the show creator's thesis was
Sir Knight of Nothing.
Thank you, Sir Knight of Nothing, and it's very it is like I think he changed the concept into this like Western style, but I already had like an idea seeing that of what the knight is like looked like, and then kind of got to go from there, and then I did kind of like very typical like knight style for him. And then I think I made him like a little bit like hulkier, like a little bit. So much of that, such like a little boy. And that concept kind of stayed pretty true, but they like skinned him down a little bit. So yeah, it was fun. I get to do like a little bit of everything. And then the powers that be decide yes or no. So they just go from there.
What's your favorite thing that they've kept?
The Undertaker and Big Jib from episode 5.
Yeah.
Because I guess the entire office was like, why do these guys look like the Game Grumps? They look like the Game Grumps. And then until it was almost like the episode was like being made, I was like, Isa, those are the Grumps. Like, it's very conscious, and every once in a while I'll be on the like Tumblr tag and someone's like, this guy looks like Dan Abaddon, and I'm like, yes.
And you're like, good.
Of course.
Son of the Undertaker, voiced by Don Avedon.
Of course. But no.
Would that be Sundertaker?
I don't know. Would it? I was just going to say, Nomad, don't you know? And that's all I was going to do.
Oh, no.
And now new context for that song. Get out of here, Finn. We got the Nomad.
Too soon. But speaking of Issa got to do the voice of young Melinda, and she did such a lovely, adorable job.
And she directed this episode, so she did a good job. I think it's fair seeing everybody on the hashtag just upset. I think a lot of people tweeted at Eddie, like, upset. Should state, I cried when I read the script, and then I cried when I worked on certain scenes on this episode, and then when the episode came out I cried like 4 times for 4 different reasons. So Issa was very happy because she cried when she looked at my boards when they went over it the first time. So it's like a lot of emotion in this episode.
It really shines through. The emotion that you guys put into it definitely comes through because it certainly makes us feel feelings. So again, you should be ashamed of yourself. But
to be fair, I also cried, you guys. You guys yell at me, I know first. All
You
right?
all feel my pain.
Well, think about that. Like you have a part of your job is getting able to see how some of these stories unwind, and you have to hold on to that for quite some time. What is that pressure like?
A lot, dude.
Yeah.
First thing I want to do is yell, like just like talk to somebody or yell into the void and like hope people talk back. But that's the nice part of like being able to like talk to Eddie and just being like, you monster, like I can't believe you've done this. Like
He can tell when you finish reading a script by when you text him.
Oh yeah, it's for sure. I think actually episode 10 is the precedence where I went out of my way to be like, hey, I read 10, and he was like, how'd you like it? I was very upset. Yeah.
You need to stop.
Just like,
Thanks, I hate it.
Oh, no.
Well, that's not true, but
But definitely a lot of those sentiments.
my
And so-
emotions.
And yeah, getting to see that the Nomad in and of itself is a creature that is brought to life via the clapping that he uses to bestow life to other things too. And that the knowledge for me, it was very unsettling knowing that at some point in time, if someone knows how to do it, they can turn him off too.
I don't know. I think it's something specific with that because we only saw the wizard do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how has he not been around people that have ever clapped? Like,
Well, no, that's the
Well,
thing.
He's not
but
been
also,
around
like-
other magical people.
maybe it is magical.
I was thinking specifically as somebody with that particular arcane knowledge.
Okay.
Yep.
Because otherwise his trip to the circus would have just
Game over.
But yeah, of magical people. And then it also begs the question of why wouldn't Melinda just clap him off if she wanted to leave him?
She couldn't. Please clap.
Yeah.
Coming in clutch. Melinda could not turn the Nomad off.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know if there's anyone with the possible exception of El Rey who can. And El Rey is less a turn off type and more of a suck your soul out through your eyeballs type.
Yeah.
Unsettling.
Jessica's soul.
Don't do that.
Fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Not into the mic. It's in my ears. But we get a little bit of a time skip. So we get to sort of go through time a little bit with this family and see her grow up a little bit. And the next time that he wakes up, it's for combat training. Even Melinda herself seems very confused by this because she's like, I thought magic, again, was off limits. I thought we weren't supposed to. You told me I was never supposed to do it. It's like, yeah, it's fine. Well, it's just us here.
Classic dad.
You have to learn how to protect yourself from the bad king.
Here's a fork. Have you met the electrical outlet?
It's a dad move. He's like removed the tire from the car and has led you outside and won't let you come back inside until you've figured out how to change a tire.
Yes.
That's exactly what that is.
And instead of changing the tire,
He tried. We didn't play that game.
That sounded like a speaking from experience anecdote.
Specific.
although instead of fixing the tire, she instead turned on the boombox because, as we know, our nomad friend has a lot of life in him and a lot of personality in him, but combat is never one of his strong suits.
He's a soft boy. He's a good boy.
The softest boy.
He's the softest boy.
So with the arrow bit, I have to ask, was that your favorite bit storyboarding the episode? Was just seeing the arrows just sort of flop down?
That was a good bit. I can't. I don't want to say it was my favorite bit of the episode, but it was pretty good. It's like a good stress reliever because Dad's like, it's like, just to be safe, but also like take this seriously. So there's this moment of like, that's where the ice breaks, He's trying his best, but, faulty bow or just not enough, maybe not enough.
No muscle.
Yeah.
He's made of hay.
It's got a 30-pound draw. Like, there's no way.
Cannot summon that force.
Oh, that's not how physics work. But he's a great companion for Melinda. And then, sure enough, they find out that he has the ability to bestow life to other creatures. And it's like, oh, that wasn't part of the plan. Ooh, time to turn it off again. Maybe turning it off and on again will fix that issue.
First thing you try.
Like you mentioned the time skips. I don't know how much time was between because the first two times didn't seem like it was a lot, but when he wakes up the third time in night mode, you can see that the dad has
gone gray.
Yeah, a little bit of gray streaks. And I was like, no, what's happened?
And she's
what has
definitely
happened?
a bit taller.
And it's leaving they're leaving so much room for flashbacks, and it's so disconcerting and stressful.
And Shira Frost says something that I noticed but didn't really quantify until they just said it. It's telling things are getting worse when each time the Nomad wakes up, the surrounding area is getting worse.
Yeah, the life was slowly getting sucked. Well, slowly. We don't know how much time has passed.
So good.
I have a question. They refer to El Rey as the king in this episode.
The bad king.
The bad king in this episode, and I'm wondering if that's sort of an indication about like, do languages sort of correspond in this world like they do in our world? Like, is there a southwestern region that leans more heavily on Spanish, or this world's equivalent of Spanish? And this world kind of looks a little bit more European, or where we're at in this flashback sequence. I don't want to say for sure if that was the intent, but it did look very medieval. So, like, I'm wondering, do we have sort of corresponding regions in that capacity? Sort of like what Full Metal Alchemist did.
Well, we also had Melinda putting on a different accent when she came into Bliss Hill.
That was adorable.
I'd say probably, and I will be very happy if, like, the Iron Border or someplace all has very heavy German accents.
Ooh.
I want it. It's fun.
I like this idea. I'm going to make a note for this. I have no authority whatsoever.
Yeah.
Headcanon.
Oh, you want to come in, yeah?
Although Stout's from near the iron border, so I don't think that jives quite as well.
Dad could have had the accent.
Auf Wiedersehen. Probably.
Auf Wiedersehen. El Rye.
That is the best thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God, that moment when you get Big Thunder Mountain to do the voiceover for the Matterhorn.
Only speak German in that accent from now until forever.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I'd rather continue the me dying after clapping bit. So please, thank you. Please no. I take it back.
You left it open. What did you think I was going to do?
Let's put a
And that's
moratorium
3.
on
We're
that.
done.
There we go.
Yeah.
Rule of threes, everybody. Before we move on, we want to talk to you folks really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you, and it is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on. Helps make us more searchable, all that fun stuff. So if you haven't already done so, go to iTunes, rate, subscribe, leave a comment. It's the best. And if you leave a comment in the iTunes store in one of our international sort of audiences, we can't directly see that, but we would love to give you a shout out, so be sure to take a screen cap of that and put in the hashtag RTReviews. So thank you guys again.
We don't have any new ones.
No, we don't.
So if you're listening to us for the
Fix
first
that.
time, help us out. Head on over to your iTunes or podcast provider of choice. Leave us a review, and we love to see it and shout you out on the show. We really appreciate it.
Love
It's the
to hear
best.
from German fans now. I mean,
Yeah.
we gave them a little shout out.
You
so.
have noted mein accent.
We're very sorry about that.
They're just gonna be yelling at Mark.
Are we?
I'm just generally sorry. So
Caitlin in the hashtag says, the number of times someone has said, you monster, I think is really a testament to how wonderful this show is.
Accurate.
actually,
You're not
All the
wrong.
feels.
Yeah.
a little bit of a flashback, but when we had Eddie on for episode 6, and the amount of people on the crew that were like, "Oh, they put him on El Rey," now I understand. It's all coming together.
Eddie
That's
has
a
been
joke.
the evil
That's a
king.
joke.
Eddie has been the evil king all along.
Oh my God, they figured it out.
We cracked the code. Oh no.
I gotta get out of here.
Keep back to the couch and gone.
Where did she go?
Headset drops.
Yeah.
How did she get out? The door's locked from the outside. How did she escape?
But the hinges are on the inside. We shouldn't have left that crowbar.
Speaking of making an escape, the next time we get a little bit of a time skip, it sounds, from the context that we get, it seems like Melinda has accidentally done magic and drawn attention to herself as somebody who can cast magic. And so now the Royal Guard seems to be after her, and the Nomad gets brought to life again, and they put him in a suit of armor, and it is now his job to act as her protector, or more specifically, a protector.
And
Like, that is your purpose. You are a protector.
we see the orb glow, and now we get it, and now it makes sense. We're making all the connections. Anytime he has fulfilled protecting somebody, he gets a wish or something, whatever that, however that works. Something like
A
that.
little glow up.
100 good deeds for Eddie McDowell.
Yeah, he gets a glow up.
Once he gets to 100 good deeds, like, he can basically turn into Nomad Super Saiyan and yeah, grant someone a wish.
Make shadow clones or something. I don't know.
But yeah, then we get this scene where, sadly, Papa, no!
I found myself wondering if the guards were automatons or
I
false
don't think
constructions
they
are
were.
not actually alive, animated by magic.
I don't know. I thought they were real guards.
They were hulking. They had that big, I don't know what those are called, but the big log.
Battering ram?
Yeah, battering ram. So,
They were very strong.
They were.
strong boys.
Strong boys compared to our soft boy. But it wouldn't surprise me if El Rey had that power as well. Like, he could build an army that way.
And we saw from the flashback that he initially got the crown from a castle guarded by necromancy. So who even knows? Who even knows?
It certainly is a mystery.
Yep.
Indeed. And so Melinda and the knight go on the run, and she sort of makes it her quest to try to find other magical users like her father so that she can learn from them. And her quest basically comes up very, very fruitlessly. Everywhere they go, they're either one step behind El Rey snatching up that magic person, or, you know, they themselves are on the run.
New favorite minion is Sword Friend.
I like
He's so
Sword Friend.
Sword
determined,
Friends, yeah.
so determined, and like center of gravity. Some reason it worked, but I was a big fan of it. Just like, all right, who am I cutting? Oh, there's a spider.
He's ready to
Big
go,
fan.
man. He's like, he that was like his one purpose, not even knowing. He's just like ready to just,
Yeah.
you know, use his head, use the sword.
You,
Like, I was
He was like a headbutt everyone just cut.
bam.
I was
Yeah.
particularly fond of Disappointed Pocket Watch Friend,
He's my favorite.
as opposed to other Pocket Watch Friend.
That was actually something I drew in. It was just like he shows Nomad with, I think, like a pocket watch or whatever, and then I drew in. I do that every once in a while. I'll add like an extra critter that doesn't need to be there, and they decide if it stays or not, and that was one that I added where he was just like real upset. And
So
I
good.
love doing the clock faces as like mouths for them.
Yes, he was so disapproving. It was
very-
wonderful.
He knew. He knew. He was laying on the law.
So what do you think was the biggest challenge in storyboarding this episode? Because we have a big action piece where her dad gets killed in a fire, and then we have a giant spider at one point. And then, yeah, we've got going to a lot of different locations, as well as the land is changing around them. So, yeah, what was the most challenging bit about tackling this episode?
You know, honestly, this might have been my easiest episode without like dumbing down storyboarding in any way. There was just something like after reading the script, I immediately just clicked with this episode. I usually, you know, you go from script to thumbs and then you just jump in is how I do it. But I think I read the script and I was setting up thumbs, and just in the margin of my notebook, I was already drawing these characters of like who it was supposed to be. We already had Melinda from the first episode, but we didn't have a younger version of her. So just right away, I was just drawing like what she looked like in my head, and then what Nomad would look like, and what did Scarecrow Nomad like look like. So going from there, and then it was like very. It's like I had a great time with this episode, and everything just kind of came together smoothly. I think when I emailed this episode to Jordan, I was like, hey, I got very extra with this episode. And if it needs to be reined in, do not feel bad about telling me to rein it in. I had just had like a vision for it right away. And so this high, you know, it's like Dungeons and Dragons and like medieval time going on. And then, you know, we just cut back and there's just a high emotional scene at the end. And I just kind of like did what I thought. And then it was just like, you know, it's like, hope for the best. And then there were just like a few changes, and just like from there just like cleaned it. And it's like, oh, it's just like from the get-go, just like something about this episode that's just so, just the feels, man. It just feels good.
Please always be extra when you yes. to this show.
Yeah, you know how it goes. Sometimes you gotta put a little extra on it. So
And Not a Troll in chat says there's no such thing as an unnecessary critter. True. Accurate. Yes.
That is not wrong. But talking about that very emotional scene, we get to the emotional apex of this episode after a scene where we find out Melinda has memory powers. And I don't know about you guys, but the moment she started erasing that guy's memory, I was very taken aback. I was like, oh no. It's sort of like how you get pieces of things along the way, and then when you're watching episodes that you didn't work on, like all of a sudden you're like, oh, that makes so much sense. We get this piece before it happens.
Terrible foreshadowing.
Worst sense of dramatic irony ever. Yeah, because the second she starts using that ability, we're like, I see where this is going, and it upsets me. So yeah, we do get to this emotional scene where she, as one potentially the last magical user in this region, she thinks it's their duty to go and attack the king or to find some way of being able to stop him. But the Nomad, as her protector, has no desire to do that. All he wants to do is keep her safe. Those are two very different objectives. So she decides to erase his memory and leave him there.
jerk move, man.
That was why.
No,
That's
it's
right move.
we all just got back to that moment. Oh, that sucked. Yeah.
I think it's a very. I don't even know how old Melinda is in that moment, but it felt like a very young move.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It felt like either younger 20-year-old me move or younger than that, where it's like I can justify doing this mean thing to my friend because I'm trying to do what's best for them. And I feel like at my age now, it's like dude, you can't do that.
You destroy who someone is when you take away their memories.
Especially when your memory is so deeply tied to a person. So that, of course, you don't know who you are.
She robbed him of his memories and his identity, and in a lot of ways, his purpose too.
True villain. True villain reveal.
Hold on. Actually, speaking of that, fun little theory going around, thank you, Malachroma, that Melinda might be fans of knives.
Yeah,
Because the silhouette's very similar and she seems to have fire powers.
One of the other governors.
One of the governors.
yeah.
did.
If you look at the hashtag, Malachroma has put the screen cap from episode 6 of all of the generals, and
Fans of knives.
And there's one that has a very familiar looking hairstyle.
They also pointed out that the outfit is a very familiar silhouette as well. The turtleneck dress with the, So, I'm in. I'm down. I love the idea of her going to fight and then getting corrupted, or thinking that this is the best way to do it, is to take him out from the inside
infiltrate.
Right.
and getting corrupted. Like, I love this. Sign me up. Potential future drama.
Well, we also don't know how many years it's been since he's gotten his memory wiped. Yes, Mark?
Well, it looked like you had an idea first. Okay. Well, first of all, could be a popular hairstyle. Second of all,
It's the style at the time.
That was the style.
it's something in the East. But I went back to the Bliss Hill episode, and I know that this bartender was the only person that Melinda came into contact with, but we don't see them in Bliss Hill at this time. So that's at least 20, 30 years at the very least. But then the sheriff said, quote, nobody done it longer than any of us had been alive. And any of us incorporates the older people in town and all of that, so that's at least a couple of generations. Now, I know we're dealing with memory magic, but if nobody been doing magic, that's a while. That's going back at least to the witch and when wanted posters were alive, and then the Nomad having enough time to become a legend. So at least it's being put on with the evidence that has been provided, and we're probably wrong, but probably a couple of generations. So, unless magic, like El Rey, is unnaturally keeping her alive, I think what we'll get is Nomad seeing the silhouette and going, Melinda! And then fan in the face.
Oh, that was sad.
Fire in the face.
Heartbreaking.
Or fire in the face. He's a
Listen,
scarecrow, and that's bad.
I predicted Red Manuel killing somebody. I have no chill.
Dude, are you writing scripts on the side?
Manuel.
There we go.
That's Steve. That's my man.
Listen, all I'm saying is I'm available. And I'm a writer.
Al McClelland is in chat.
Hi, Al.
Fan theories giving me life.
He just wants to be
You
part of the
enjoy this.
Al just wants to be part of the conversation.
Stacey, you had a thought.
So, as much as I am also under the impression that a long time has passed since we first saw Melinda and first saw the Nomad, I do really like the theory of her being like, oh, well, all right, I'm going to take him down from the inside and go and become one of his generals.
And Beast Wars fan says Scout could be Melinda's descendant, and I'm sitting here going, ¿Por qué no los dos? Like, you can have both.
Trying to throw us off with eye color. Come on.
We haven't seen her dad yet, so
There's such a thing as recessive and dominant genes. It could be a different eye color. It
I mean,
doesn't mean
you
they're
guys,
clones.
there's no mamas in Nomad. Only papas, all right? Only papas.
That's the next shirt. Nomad of Nowhere, only papas.
I'm going to make that shirt.
I'll do it tonight. Okay, good. Only papas. And I'll put critter eyes on one of the letters.
Google it.
Al has another note for you.
Al?
Yes.
Nomad is not 30, apparently. Good to know.
Just in case you go down that road.
You will never live it down.
No, but that's still my
He's
favorite.
at least 100.
Yeah. Maybe he's 3100. But
30
it's,
at heart, you know?
well, no, but that was, I've said it before and I'll say it again. That was my favorite interaction at RTX. It's like, oh, hey, what's up? It's good to see you. Yeah, it's good to see you too. Look, Nurse not 30.
He's 33.
Yeah. To update my charts.
helping.
No.
I will say at one point
right.
I went to the hospital for a test and got the 30-year-old thing on there and it said 30Y and I was like, well, shit, that has a point.
I guess I'm a boy.
All right, I could see why yeah, okay, I get it. All right.
To bring it back a little bit, you bring up a great point. It is entirely possible that there is a connection between Melinda and Scout. I feel like the implication is very much implied with that first episode. If there's not, I would be very confused if it turned out they had zero connection whatsoever. But I also very much appreciate the villain theory as well. And so, yeah, we are running a little bit short on time. So before we get into some predictions, let's talk a little bit more to Molly. Because, yeah, it's this episode has been absolutely fantastic. Was it your favorite episode so far to work on this season?
Yes, and it has been the hardest to keep quiet about. I think I was working on it like in May or June.
Oh, wow.
And just like yelling at Eddie, and then just waiting for like the rest of the team while they were working on Camp to get on that same level, and just like, you guys, and it's like we can't even like look at you right now. We're very busy. So like when it finally was like out and being able to talk about it on Twitter, it was just like, oh my god, finally, like just so excited about this thing. And then seeing everyone's reaction was really great. Like a lot of people on the team, especially Eddie, love reaction videos. So
I know.
Like a million like links throwing at me, like this is a good one, this is a good one. So just like yes. And like people who also are saying the same things that we were for months. Like super excited.
Inchoate screaming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
That whole like just still face but internally screaming across the screen. Been like that for quite a while.
So, yeah, do you guys have any more questions before we get into some predictions?
Many, but I know that they
Yes.
cannot be answered.
Only 10. Come on, man.
No, that's what I mean. It's like I have many questions, but they cannot be answered.
And we apologize. We know when we get into predictions, it's very, very difficult because you have a little bit more pieces than we do. So I apologize in advance. Guys, let's go ahead and delve into some predictions.
Very quick.
Your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
I missed the quick drop.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, the episode ends with him waking up to Don Paragon, and I wanted a better shot of the room to see how much other stuff was in the room, to see how easy this escape plan is, or if he's got like locked cabinets or something. But then the locks can come alive. But I don't know what's coming next for our boy.
I know. He's got a predicament to get himself out of now. That's for sure. Honestly, I'm going to turn my prediction a little more to Melinda, and hopefully we're going to see a little more backstory with her. And like, because her childhood is really fascinating to me. Like, how lonely must this have been, like, with her knowledge of magic, but not being able to share it with anybody, and then having to continue living life through that. So what kind of person did she end up being later on?
I do think that Scout is Melinda's descendant. I would love to see something regarding that, if that is the case. Also, I can't help but laugh every time someone ties the Nomad's hands together at the wrist, because it's not like you can't just do this. I love it, but I think the Undertaker had the right idea with it, just separate them as far as you can, and I don't know why no one else does that.
Earlier in the episode, we got his hand falling off. I'm surprised they didn't just try to remove them, but I suppose they don't know what type of a creature he is, or if he's since tied his gloves to his arms.
Become a little more
And El
secure.
Rey presumably wants him alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Don Paragon is going to be interacting with El Toro, since El Toro's champion is most likely dead. And then all of a sudden, here he is with the Nomad. I definitely love the stuff that we've been getting, and I can't wait to find out more. I'm with Mark. I'm so glad we got these answers, but I have a million more questions.
I still would love to see the champion come back.
That would be
no body, no death, and we never heard him hit the ground.
Single
Maybe.
anime bandage around his rib cage.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, otherwise, we're going to have to deal with the fact that Scout is the champion now. So
I would love it,
super
though.
love
She
that
shows up
idea.
at the Colosseum and everyone's like, the new champion. She's like, that was fast.
Well, Molly, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do you have any upcoming projects that you can tell us about?
No. I will plug that the Nomad of Nowhere season finale is this Friday for first members. So if you have a first account, don't spoil anything. Also, you get a free trial for a free week while signing up for first membership. So, you can watch a little bit of Nomad, watch the finale. If you're super worried about spoilers, go watch some of the other stuff that's only for first members. It's pretty great.
And where can people follow you if they want to keep up with you and all of your work?
I'm on Twitter at Tehflood, so TEHFLOOD.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thanks, you guys. This is great.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Happy we got to do it. We're real happy about it.
Katie, where can people go if they want to follow you?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is KIAXET. If you like reaction videos for these episodes, they live on that YouTube channel as well as my new Overwatch podcast, On the Point. So check them all out there.
Stacey?
Guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me all over the web at Stacey Shuttle. You can also find me over at Twitch at Inventory Full PT, where we talk video games and play video games. I've been playing some Overwatch lately and other things to come.
And Spider-Man. We've been playing Spider-Man in Inventory Full PT. Make sure to check it out. I did 2 long streams, and I think I'm going to do another one tomorrow, so please tune in. Speaking of stuff to use your first membership on, Achievement Hunter is dropping at the end of the season. Hardcore Tabletop has been a delight, and I highly recommend that. It's been a highlight of the week aside from Nomad. And aside from that, just follow me on Twitter at Donica.
I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Menguin. That's TheMenguin. Be sure to follow the whole team here at the Rooster Team on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again, Molly, for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
We will see you all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.